profit in 2020. Another very interesting statistic. Out of the total market capitalization today, 50% of this capitalization, market capitalization, is contributed by companies which were listed before 1995. That obviously means that the remaining 50%, the complete market cap, was post 1995. So imagine all our brand new companies which contribute 50% market cap. Earlier, we discussed that only 100 companies created wealth and the remaining 400 companies fell by the word side. I'm using that word because it was the same word used by Motilal Oswal chairman, Ramdeo Aggarwal. So, any person at that time, if they had looked at high growth, low priced companies, and if you had purchased the right company at the right time, you could have made billions, millions and billions. The challenge now is, how do you find those companies? Just as out of those 500 companies, only 100 companies created wealth, isn't it? So that's a challenge. Is it possible for us to make any guesses that out of the companies that are existing today, and if somebody was to do this survey 25 years later, that is 2025, what will be the total market capitalization and what percentage of those companies will constitute companies that exist in today's date? The big companies, your Infosys, your Reliance, your HDFCs, your Bajaj. We need to learn lots and lots of lessons. There is a need for all of us. There's so much of data available, especially with this internet revolution. I don't think it's very difficult. With so much of information in the internet and the kind of cheap data plans that we have, nothing is difficult, especially in the context of doing the right analysis and selecting the right stocks. Let's walk down this memory lane for a little while and look at some of those success stories. Can you imagine which was the biggest company in the last 25 years? Which has emerged the biggest? A very easy question. I'm sure most of you would have guessed it right. It's Reliance. All of us know that. Somewhere around $1 billion, hundreds of billions of dollars of market capitalization. One of the biggest. Now, if we talk about consistency, which company has been very consistent in terms of delivering shareholder returns? Any guesses? I had some guesses, but all those guesses proved to be wrong, because when you speak with data, nothing can trump data. Okay? Otherwise, everything else is an opinion. Can you think of any consistent company? It's Kotak Mahindra as per the survey. Can you think of some companies which have created wealth consistently? Real wealth creators. So many companies, so many. But the top class ones. Berger Paints, Shree Cements, Pidilite Industries, Honeywell Automation, Motherson Sumi. These are some of the consistent wealth creators as explained in that survey. There are 4 companies which have recorded 24% compounded annual growth rate year on year. That was a journey from a mini to mega. Mini companies to mega companies is what we are talking about. 4 companies. The names are Eicher Motors, Berger Paints, Honeywell Automation, Havells India. Absolutely superb companies. 24% CAGR. A journey from mini to mega has been so great. You can write thousands of case studies. Lots and lots of small companies which have moved from mini to mid. Because people don't invest in small companies. A lot of people say, I don't invest in small companies. I invest only in big companies. Small companies doesn't mean they are bad companies. And big companies, there's no surety that you will have high returns. These are some of the misconceptions in the market. Small companies which are made big in a short period of time. There are 16 companies listed in that survey. Unable to remember all those, but your mother Sumi, Amara Raja, Balkrishna, AstraZeneca, Coromandel, TTK, our company from Tamil Nadu. These companies had a remarkable journey from mini to big. They had recorded 18% CAGR, compounded annual growth rate, consistently. There are lots and lots of companies where the journey from mid to mega has been historical. These companies had clocked 21% CAGR year on year. 10 companies. Your Pidilites, your Infosys, your Shri Cement, Sun Pharma, Hero Motors, Whirlpool, Apache, 3M, Lupin. These are some of the companies that come to my mind. Absolutely beautiful companies, but the greatest challenge is how could we have spotted these companies? Today we are discussing in the inside, but how could we have spotted these companies? So if you look at the success stories of all these companies, and if you do kind of a dipstick analysis, there are certain things which have been common across all these companies. The three pillars: your growth, your profits, your market cap. But that's academics. But there are lots of other things that these companies have done in terms of what those qualities are. Those are the least common denominators which figure across all successful companies. So, what a lot of mutual funds people do is, in fact, this was shared by Motilal Oswal. They do a kind of beautiful analysis. They were talking about, before they select a specific stock, they ask 25 very specific questions before they decide which stock to invest their money on. They do that using 25 different frameworks which will measure each of these companies in terms of specific metrics, because that will help you to take a calculated position in terms of which stocks you can put your money on. Some of the important parameters is quality of business is extremely important. So quality of business talks about what is the industry, what is the kind of competition, how has been your past credentials, what is your revenue model, what is the future potential of that industry as a whole, and how is the best politics, the economics, sociologically, technology, how is that impacting your business, the generic things you study in your MBA level. Using a proper framework, they ask all these questions. That is extremely important. But that's not all. There's a second one. That's the quality of management. Typically, when you talk about the quality of management, certain things come to our mind. One is competence. Competence in terms of how competent the company is, in terms of weathering the rough storms in the market, which are very usual. Your passion to do business, your growth mindset, these things are extremely important. And there's one more important aspect, which is integrity. How do you decide integrity? Integrity is a very abstract and intangible topic, but how do you measure integrity? Very difficult question. But integrity generally is measured in terms of how the company has behaved during turbulent times. Because when the going is good, everybody is good. A person's real character comes out in the open only during turbulent times. And the same thing holds good for corporate companies. It is generally said that the bad weather decides the best captain of the ship. In a good weather, everybody rides the ship. But it is only in those times of crisis that the company is showing its real strength. And the next important thing is growth. To what extent the company has looked at the external opportunities and leveraged those opportunities. To what extent these companies have added to the shareholders' wealth.